So today's session will create a custom VPC. We'll create one custom VPC. In the North Virginia region, we are going to create one VPC. By default, we'll get one default VPC, but we don't want to use that default VPC. For our project, we are going to create one custom VPC. Okay. And like maybe that is for our project, maybe like we'll call that as Bank of America. So Bank of America VPC we are going to create. So Bank of America VPC, and this is for North Virginia. And we need to choose the region first. In which region we need to create the VPC. Then we are going to choose the CIDR range. Okay, so I'm going to choose the 10.10.0.0/16. Okay, say why we need to choose 10.10 series or 172 series or 192 series, or those are the reserved private ranges. Okay, so those are the reserved private ranges we required. So that is the reason we are going to choose. That is the reason we are going to choose those. That in the reserved private ranges itself, we need to choose the VPCs also, because this is not for the public subnet we are creating. These are for the internal VPC. It's a private subnet we are going to choose. Then after choosing that VPC, I'm going to choose the subnets. Logically, we are distributing the subnets from the VPC. Can you tell me some of the CIDR ranges within that VPC CIDR? Can you guide me those VPC CIDR ranges?
10.10.1.0/16.
Yeah, say 10.10.0.0 I have chosen here. Slash. Okay, if I choose /16 here, what is the problem is, all my VPC range of IPs, I'm allocating to the one subnet itself. Then what is the problem I'll get for other subnets? What is the problem I'll get for other subnets? Because I don't have any IPs. So that's the reason I don't choose the complete range of IPs to that itself. What I'm doing is, I'm just allocating that subset itself. That means I'm allocating only 256 IPs only. Total I got the IPs are, total IPs I got 65,536. But I don't want to choose all of them. Okay. So only some of them I want to allocate. Okay. So then can you tell me the next range of CIDR? Next range of CIDR 10.10.1.0/24. Then another one 10.10.2.0/24. Then 10.10.3.0/24. Like this I have chosen. Say any plan or idea why we chosen 4 subnets? So why we chosen 4 subnets? Any idea?
Reserved, sir.
No. Subnets wise. Subnets wise, why we have chosen that subnets, 4 subnets, why we have chosen? How many zones we are going to use in that?
2 zones.
Yeah, 2 zones we are going to keep. And in each zone, I'm going to keep one public and one private. So now try to understand. I may keep maybe Bank of America, subnet, and zone name is 1A, 1B, like that I'll get. And I'm going to keep this one as public. Or maybe private also is fine. Then can you tell me next naming? So these all our company will have naming guidelines also. And according to that naming conventions itself, what we need to do is, we need to provide the naming conventions. Okay, so that naming conventions we need to provide. That depends upon this. Then Bank of America, subnet, 1A, what I can keep?
Private.
Private. Then can you tell me one more? Bank of America, subnet,
1B.
1B. So maybe we can keep public if you want public. Second one if you want. One B private. Okay, so I have chosen 4 subnets. But even if I give the name as public and private, by default in the custom VPC, can you guess whether those will become public subnets or private subnets?
Private subnet.
Yeah, by default in the custom VPC, those will become private subnets. But in the default VPC, what's happening?
All are public
By
subnets.
default, all are public. Okay, and how many subnets we are getting by default? How many subnets we are getting? How many zones we have in that? That many subnets will get by default. How many zones we have? That many number of subnets we will get. Depends upon our requirement. We can customize them. Okay, so these subnets, as I given the name public, it won't become public. If we want to make it public, any idea?
We need to attach internet gateway.
We need to attach internet gateway need to be attached. Okay, so we need to attach the internet gateway. What internet gateway will provide?
Access to internet.
It will do 2 things. It will do 2 things for us. First one is
Public access and
it will provide the public access. Then second one is
internet connectivity.
it is going to provide the internet also to those devices. It is providing internet also to those devices. Okay, so any doubts on that? Yeah, please ask me before creating. If you have any doubts, we'll discuss on that. Yeah, any doubts? Okay, so then I'll go to AWS console. Say here in the AWS console, I'm already in the North Virginia region. Say if I want to change the region, okay. So where we want to create that VPC, there we need to choose that region. Then I'm going to choose the VPC here. I'm going to choose the VPC. Okay, so then what are the things by default we are getting, we'll discuss. So here, how many VPCs by default? We didn't create this, right? Who created this? AWS itself. What is the default behavior is in every region? Okay, AWS is going to provide default VPC for us in AWS region. Like by default, we are getting one default VPC we are getting. Okay, so if you want, so now everyone need to remember one thing. What is that CIDR range? In the default VPC, what is the CIDR range we are getting?
16.
16,
Yeah,
sir.
172.31.0.0/16. One of the problem why we need to go for custom VPCs are like what are the VPC CIDR we are getting from AWS. Okay, so that's okay. So that's maybe in our project we don't want 172.31. But if I use the default VPC, by default, I'll get my private subnet is 172 itself. Okay, so even that is also one of the reason I don't want to use my own custom VPC, my own custom settings, custom cider ranges, custom subnets, route tables, all that we can customize. Okay, then like here, I hope you got it right. By default, we are getting 172.31. Again, 172.31 is also in the IANA range, private range itself. In class A, we have 10 dot series. Class B, we have 172 series. Can you tell me the private range in class C?
192,
Yeah,
168.
192, we need to use it. Okay, so those itself are recommended even in your company also. Your client or your manager said to use 20 dot series or 30 dot series or maybe 180 dot series. Don't accept for the private ranges because those are not in the list of IANA range. I hope you got it right, why we shouldn't use those. Yeah. So then I'm not going to use this. Again, I'll come to the dashboard. And how many subnets we got here? How many subnets we got here?
6.
6. Why we got 6 is, okay, so in AWS North Virginia, by default, we have 6 zones. Okay, so that is the reason we got 6. Okay, in Mumbai, we may have 3 only. Okay, then we'll get by default 3. So by default, we are getting 3 there itself. Yeah, any doubts on this? Then each one, like if you go for this say 172 dot /24 they taken or /20 they have taken? /20 they have taken. We in our design we took /24. In 24 total, how many IPs will get?
256.
256. /20 will give
4096.
4096. Again, in that also 5 would be used. 5 IPs are going to be used. Okay. So then these also I don't want. My own customized subnets I want to create. These all possible with custom VPCs. Those are possible with the custom VPCs. Okay. So then if I go for this in the dashboard itself, by default, without creating anything, VPC got created or not? VPC got created, subnets got created, and how many route tables we got? How many route tables we got?
1, sir.
So 1 route table we got. Okay, so 1 route table we got this. Okay, so then what is route table also we'll discuss, and how many internet gateways we got?
1.
1. Say why we got the internet gateway by default is those subnets it want to make it public itself. That is the reason without doing anything also by default we got
1 gateway.
1 internet gateway we got. Okay, I hope you got it right. And this has
Sir.
been attached to all subnets. That's the reason by default all the subnets, 6 subnets also become public. Okay, then we didn't get any egress and DHCP options we got 1. We'll discuss all these. By default, what I'm trying to tell is without doing anything, these all created by AWS itself. And here this is called as network ACLs, or we may call as NACL. We may call that as NACL. And how many NACLs we got?
1.
1. And the security group also we got 1. But while creating every instance, we given one instance like this. We may created 19 instances. That's then 1 plus 19 total we got
20.
20 we got. But by default for the VPC, we are getting 1 security group also. And we don't get any customer gateways and that is instance, no issues, that is. Okay, so these all the details by default we are getting. These all the details. So can you tell me, if we don't do anything also in the region from the VPC wise, one VPC, one subnet in,
Arjun,
one subnet in each zone, then one internet gateway, one DHCP options, one route table, one NACL. Okay, so NACL itself we can call that as NACL also. NACL, Network Access Control List, and one security group is getting created. Okay, on top of this, we want our own customized, VPC. That's the reason we are going for the custom VPC. We don't want to use the default VPC. Okay, so why we don't want is that 172.31 range, I don't want my own custom range. I want my own subnets, my own NACL rules. I don't want to go with the default options. Okay, so that is the reason I'm going to use the
custom VPC.
yeah, my own custom VPC. If I create a custom VPC, whatever the resources will get create, we'll discuss. Okay, so then here I'm going to use my VPCs or your VPCs. In that, I'm going to use create VPC, and I'm using that VPC only. Then Bank of America, North Virginia, VPC I have chosen, and our CIDR range is 10.10.0.0/16 we have chosen. And as of now, we are chosen only IPv4. We are not choosing IPv6. And the tenancy also default you choose, remaining all with the default options. Okay, then I'm creating the VPC. I've created the VPC. Okay, so then here if I go for this again, the dashboard. Yeah, now total how many VPCs we got? We created only one, right? But then why it is
Two.
showing two?
If by default one create.
By default
Default
one
one
is there. Okay.
No.
Then any subnets got created with the custom VPC? No,
No.
right? Only 6 are there.
No,
So we need to choose if we want any custom subnets, then we need to choose those. And any route tables we got?
Yes, one. Yes, one.
yes, one.
Yes, one route table also we got. Okay. Then any internet gateway?
No.
No, because that one is with the default itself we got. Okay, that can you guess those subnets now? What are the custom subnets if we create also, as they don't have the internet gateway, those will become public or private?
Private. Private.
The private only. So we are going to get the private only, we are going to get it. Okay, so then DHCP options also we didn't get anything. Then can you tell me like NACLs? NACLs.
One
Yeah.
NAC.
Yeah, NACL is one created.
Okay.
Can you guess security groups previously how many we have?
21. So it
20.
will be one
20.
VPC.
That one security group also is got created.
Yes.
One security group also is got created. Any doubts on this? Okay, so now what we'll do is, as per our requirement, I'm going to create the subnets. See, here we have 6 subnets, right? It's not mandatory. All the subnets we need to use. That depends upon our requirement. It depends upon our requirement. We are going to choose them.
So how we know so which we want to like do
These all
that,
architect decisions.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, even at the time of design also, we need to involve in those designs.
Okay.
And we need to have the review comments, all those also we will have.
And submit. Okay.
Yes, on everything, on the VPC design, all those, we will also review those.
Okay.
Okay, and even you can give also your review comments also. Whether that is accepted or rejected, again, it would be discussed in the meetings.
Okay.
Okay, so even freshers kind of people also will involve these kind of things. Okay. So any doubts on this? So then I'm going to create the subnets. So as per my like we'll get a document like this, not in a notepad. So this is the first subnet I want to choose. Now VPC is not the default VPC, my own subnet, and this is the VPC CIDR range. Then subnet name I'm giving here. Then here, if I don't choose any of the subnet, if I choose no preference, AWS automatically will choose that. That's not a best practice. What we can do there? What we can do there? They choose the subnet like 1A I want. If you don't choose, what is going to happen? By default, AWS itself will choose any of the zone, but I don't want like that. So this definitely I want to keep in 1A itself. Okay.
Okay.
Then, like here, what is my CIDR range? I want is I'll try to do one mistake. Try to understand. 10.11 is not in the scope because if I use /16 in my VPC, 10.10 is fixed. If I try to give this one, it tries to throws an error for me. What is going to happen with that? So that is not within the VPC range. Okay, definitely 10.10 should be. Okay, it should be. And it is showing even 256 IPs, right? Because
Yes.
/24 it knows it shows 256 IPs. Okay, so then I'm going to create that subnet. If you want, you can add more also here itself, but I'm just creating one subnet. Like this, all my 4 subnets also I need to create here. This is a small filter. By default, previously we got 6. We created one more. Then I'm going to create one more. And this also I want to keep in the 1A itself. In the 1A itself, I want to keep this. Okay, so what is the risk with the no preferences? AWS may choose by default. And 10.10.1.0 I'm going to choose. Then I'm creating this subnet also. I created total 2 subnets and I'm going to use one more. This time this is not in 1A. I want to choose in 1B. So I need to choose here 1B definitely. And once we created in the real time, there would be one more review also. Okay, so what is the responsibility of the reviewer is whether we have created as per the document or not is going to review. And if I do any mistakes, again, that need to be, say here /16 anyhow, it won't take. 24 and it's 1B. Then I'm creating final one also here itself. Then I want to make this as a private. Then no preference, I have chosen 1B and 10.10. That is anyhow our VPC CIDR. Then 10.10.02.0/24. Okay, the total 2 subnets. Previously we created 2. So technically I given the name as sorry, already previously we have 2.0. That's the reason it's getting overlap. For public, I want to give 2.0. This all as per the documentation we are doing. That nothing wrong here. I give 2.0 and there I give 3.0. But in the real time, as per the process, exactly I need to create the same things. Then total 4 subnets we created. Okay, so I given the names as public and private, right? But what is going to happen? All are as of now
Or private.
are private itself. By giving the name public, it won't become public. So what we need to do for that?
We need to attach internet gateway.
We need to attach an internet gateway. So now here we have internet gateway, right? This internet gateway, by default, we got that internet gateway for which VPC that is?
Default VPC.
For the default VPC, we got that. But for our requirement, we need to choose our own VPC. We need to select.
Yes.
Okay. So any doubts on this?
Yes, Srikanth, so in that can we modify also? Submit?
No. This is attached to already default one, right? Don't touch that.
Okay.
So this has been already attached to default VPC. If I delete this one in the default VPC, I can't connect over the internet.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the reason I'm going to create a new internet gateway. I'm going to give Bank of America. IG I can give, or say here this is very, very important as per the process. Whether underscore or hyphen also, we should be very, very careful. Okay. So then just I created the internet gateway. I just created the internet gateway. Now what I need to do is I need to attach to VPC. Here also it's showing, right? If you read here, internet gateway is created, but you can attach this to VPC because here I can choose or go to actions, attach to VPC. Now I need to choose my VPC here itself. By default, why I didn't get that default VPC? Why I didn't get that default VPC?
Already it has one.
Yeah, already it has been attached. We can't attach two things to that. Okay, so that is the reason it's already attached. Okay. Any doubts on that?
So can we also, there is a termination also? And,
Yes, once it's done, we can clean up all this.
okay.
But don't delete the default VPC one.
Okay.
So don't delete the default VPC one. Okay?
Okay. So how we know that that is the default VPC? Means if we are not
Yeah,
selected, so
so
that
now
is
here, if you come to that internet gateways,
right.
so here you can see like here there is no name also, and it
Okay.
VPC ID it has been attached. So from this we need to confirm. Or you try to
Okay.
give a name also to this. Here you can edit that name.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
In a mistake, default VPC deleted. How to
Again
do
we can create it. That's it. Mostly whenever we are doing a cleanup, we'll do that mistake also. Okay. So we'll solve. Nothing will happen in that region. By default, you can't connect it.
So if we missing or if we are confused at that time, if we are terminate or delete that particular default
Yes, you can
subnet.
create again later.
Okay. So but we can't recover, right?
We can't connect to that. If you want to other reason, you can use it.
Okay. Okay. For
But in the
same
real
purpose,
time,
we
we
can.
should be very careful.
Okay.
So before doing any of the deletion kind of thing, in the real time, we should be very, very careful.
Okay. Okay.
Otherwise, we'll have a lot of challenges.
Sure. Means again we do same thing also, right?
Yes. Again, that's again, first we need to give the explanation, right? And
Yes. Yes.
business wise, there will be a loss also. So what about the
Right.
connections, all those? So those all the risk we have.
Yes.
Okay. So we should be very, very careful.
Mhm.
Okay. In the real time before doing any of the deletion kind of things. Don't do it blindly in the real time. Now, like I'll try to explain what are the steps we have done. Try to understand. We created the VPC, we created the subnets, and I created the internet gateway and attached that internet gateway to my VPC. But still, my subnets are private only. Okay, I attach it to the VPC, not to subnets. What now I need to do is I need to create a new resource that's called as a route table. Like in the next 2 days, you need to understand route table very perfectly. Then only we can understand VPC. Okay, so
Okay.
how the routing rules are working are going to decide by the route table. So route table will have the routing rules, how the routing is going to happen. By default, AWS provides one implicit router. By default, AWS provides one internal router we are getting. Okay, so that how it works, we'll discuss. How that router works, we'll discuss. Okay, so
Okay.
route table, like if the definition wise, okay, so what is the concept of route table is? Okay, so route table is some set of rules, how the routing is going to be happen. How the routing is going to be happen, that rules are going to be decided by the route tables. Okay, so how the routing is going to happen is going to be decided by route tables. Okay, so then by default we will get a default route, and if you create a VPC also, what's happening? If you create a VPC also, what is happening?
One route table is going to.
One main route table we are getting by default, and depends upon our requirement, we need to choose which route table we want also. We need to choose which route table also we need to select.
So
Okay.
becomes so there is any like limit for subnet. So how much to submit we can connect that particular route or not? Or
No.
like
By
like.
default, we'll get all subnets. Say suppose technically now, in one VPC we
Ah,
can create 200 subnets.
right.
By default, it would be connected to all also.
Okay. Okay. So there is no limit for minimum and maximum, right?
No. That VPC level, we have that limiter. The one region, we
Okay,
can
for
use
route,
5.
there is no.
Okay, and how many routing rules we can add? We have that. I'll explain in the. We have the VPC maximums, and most of them mostly we can extend also. Means we can raise it request quota, and from that we can increase also those. Okay.
Can you give one of the examples? I didn't understand.
So suppose by default we are getting 5 VPCs in one region, but my project want 10 VPCs.
Yes.
Then you can go to request quota support twice, and you can contact the AWS.
Okay. Okay.
So that's again the decision is taken care by
AWS.
AWS itself. We just need to request them.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So the decision is taken care by the
AWS.
AWS. So according to that, we need to work on that. Okay. So now here, what is that route table? What is the default route table we are getting? We'll discuss. So now here, if I go to the route table, we have 2 route tables. One is for this is default VPC route table. Okay. And this is our route table. And go and understand this route table. How many routes we have?
One route.
One router. So can you tell me what is that destination is? What is the destination there?
Our VPC
Today little confusing to understand route tables, but in the next 2 classes, once you create 5 to 10 times all these VPCs there, you will understand. Okay. So there, what exactly that route table we are getting is 10.10.0.0/16. What is that?
our VPC range.
Our VPC CIDR range, and it is using a local router. What is going to happen with this kind of rule is any IP within the range of VPC can communicate with any of the VPC. You no need to do anything. Okay. So by default, what we are getting is, this route rule we are getting, right? With this, what is happening is any IP can communicate with any of the IP within the range of subnet or VPC.
VPC.
Subnet or VPC?
VPC.
VPC, because it's not at the subnet range. The 10.10.0.0 is okay. And a local implicit router we are getting, that is helping for this connection. Okay, because 2 different subnets also will have, right? That's communication also is going to be driven by that local implicit router. By default, we are getting one default implicit router, and using that our communication is going to happen. Okay, so using that our communication is going to happen. Okay, so any doubts on that?
Same is at work as an Azure, right? Azure. Or there is a difference like
Yeah.
dashboard and all.
Some slight differences are there between Azure and GCP.
Okay.
Okay, so that videos also I'll share.
Okay.
Okay, say one change in the GCP, like Azure wise, what is the difference is Azure and AWS both are region level, but Azure supports even multi-region level also. We can create the VPCs, but here the scope is only within the region itself.
Okay.
Okay,
I
so
got it.
90% it's almost same. That's manageable also, no problem. Okay, so then what is this default route table rule? Can you tell me? Any of the range of IPs comes with the 10.10. Series that connected using local route, and route is going to be established. But our range of IPs are not in 10 dot series. Okay, then what is going to happen is that is getting blocked. Okay, that is the reason this is only the private VPC, and within the VPC only they are communicating. Within the VPC only they are communicating. Okay, so then here I don't edit this. I'll create a new route table. Why I don't edit that also I'll explain. So I'm going to create a new route table. I'll call this as Bank of America public route. And I'm choosing my VPC also, this Bank of America VPC. And if I create a route table also, by default, I'll get one rule in that. So one route table by default will get. So we got one route, right? So what is that route? This route we can't change. Okay. What is that route we got? What is the route we got there? 10 dot?
10.10.0.0 dot
10 dot 10 dot.
0.0.
What is this meaning?
That is a VPC.
Within the VPC, any IP can communicate with any IP using that local implicit router. That local
implicit router.
Implicit router it's going to connect. Okay, but I don't want this setting. What I want is, I want to add one more route for this. What is that route is? 0.0.0.0.0. If any of that mission comes, I want to attach my internet gateway. I attach it the internet gateway, right? Can you guess this route what it will do?
It will take by default. So
If the other than 10 dot series, if any IP comes from all over the world, okay, I'm opening one more route to me. So that connects using
Internet gateway.
internet gateway. That connects using the internet gateway. It is connecting. If I don't have this route, my subnet is private. If I add this route, this open the communication for
public.
Public. I hope you got it right.
Yes.
Okay, so it depends upon our requirement. We need to choose this. Now, if I attach this one to all the 4 subnets, what is going to happen?
Public.
All will become public. But that's I don't want.
Public.
That I don't want it, right? So what I want? Only 2 subnets we want to make it
Private.
public, and 2 I want to keep like this private itself. Okay, then if I go to my route table, here I have my subnet associations. By default, I don't have any. By default, all are also attached to main route table itself. Then here edit that subnet associations. Okay, very carefully, I need to choose the subnets. If I choose the private subnet, it's very, very challenging kind of thing, because that subnets are getting public access. That subnets are getting public access. So that is very, very challenging kind of thing. So in order to avoid that one, what I'm doing? In order to avoid that one, what I'm doing?
So if you are like avoiding that public,
so
then that is a private.
Yeah. So then, like here, try to understand. I'm saving the association also. After I save the association also, what I'll do in the real time is, I need to confirm whether those subnets have been attached right or not. So here, I'll choose my VPC only here. Yeah. So now here we got the 4, right? So now here I'll go to public, or first I'll check the private. How I can confirm it's a public or private is one shortcut is there. If I go to the subnet route table, if it is having only one route, if it is having only one route, can you confirm me?
One route means like it is a private or
It's a private only. This is a private subnet itself. I don't have any problem. Okay, then I'll check the another private also. So how I can confirm? I need to go to that subnet. By seeing the name, we can't confirm that.
yes. Click on route table.
Yeah. So how we can confirm whether a subnet is public or private?
We select that
Only route.
particular.
So how
Route
we can
one.
confirm that?
Public.
Yeah, that route table we need to check it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Can you tell me this subnet is public or private?
Private.
This is private.
It's a private. Okay.
Yes.
Then we'll go to other subnet.
Public.
After seeing, we should tell. Okay.
Mm.
So here route table. Yeah. How many routes we have?
So it's
Two.
showing a two
Two routes.
So means
By seeing if I have two routes, it doesn't mean mandatory. We should have one rule, one route table rule. What is that?
Public and
No,
private.
no.
Private.
One route table rule should be there. What is that rule?
Internet gateway.
We should have 0.0.0.0/0 need to attach to
Gateways.
internet gateway.
internet.
So can you explain me that meaning of those two rules?
One is for internet connectivity. Another
Yeah.
is
So one is for internal VPC connectivity.
another is internet access.
Yeah. Second one is for internet access. If I don't attach internet gateway, also there is no use.
Yeah.
Maybe
So,
other devices like NAT
example-
gateway, those attach also I don't use. Say by don't tell blindly if I have two routes, it doesn't mean. In that routes, definitely we should have. In that route, definitely we should have the
VPC and gateways.
yeah, no. That 0.0.0.0/0 that should be attached to internet gateway.
internet.
Then only that's going to be
Public.
public. Otherwise, it won't become public. Okay. So then we have one more final subnet also. So this mandatory
So,
step we need to perform.
So
To
means
confirm,
like
yeah, come again.
this is VPN, right? When we connect the VPN, so then we can access that kind of.
No, that's not through VPN. VPN also again we need to create. By default, we don't get that.
Okay.
Okay. So even for the VPN also, we need to create the customer gateway. All those settings we need to do.
Okay.
Okay. So that's we need to set up that. So by default, with this route in the subnets, what's happening is if the internal IP within the VPC it comes, it connects using the local implicit router, and outside IP address comes, it connects using
Internet gateway.
internet
Internet.
gateway. That connection is happening by default. Okay. Any doubts on this? Any doubts on this part?
That 0.0.0 that IP is
That
any-
is any IP address in the world because we are giving access to anywhere because we don't know the client IP is right.
Okay.
That is the reason. As we want to give the public access means 0.0.0.0 we need to use because that CIDR represents any public IP in the world.
Okay.
Okay. Then one more setting is mandatory for the subnets. I'll explain that also. Say here I'll go for VPC. Sorry, I'll go to EC2 instance. I'll try to create an EC2 instance now. I'll try to create I'm going to launch an instance. So this step everyone need to do. And from today onwards, don't use the default VPC, create the custom VPCs, those itself will use. Okay. So I'm choosing Bank of America server 001 and any of that OS, Amazon Linux I have chosen, and T2.micro. I can create a new key pair also. Okay. So then try to understand here. I'm creating a new key pair. And if I go to the network settings, what I'm getting here is, if I don't choose anything by default, it goes to
Default VPC.
default VPC. That's I don't want. Okay, that's I don't want. Okay, then here you go to edit option. You go to here, edit option, and go to this like Bank of America. And if I don't choose the subnet also, by default, AWS itself is selecting, I don't want 1A, I want to keep in 1B. Then here one more problem is, if I keep it public also, I'm not getting this one is auto assign. Auto assign
Public IP.
public IP by default.
Don't have public access.
You don't have the public access. Okay, you don't have the public access, right? Then what is going to happen?
It will be private subnet.
Yeah, no. Even if we attach internet gateway also, we don't have a public IP address to connect. Okay, so what is this? Is a post without having an address, that's it. It never reaches, right? Okay, so then what mandatory step we need to choose here is enable. We have a lot of times we created the EC2 instances, right? Lot of times we have created EC2 instances, but we never choose this option. For that, in the VPC, we have one option is there. So try to understand. Again, I'll switch to VPC here. I'll switch to VPC. Here, if I go for this VPC and I have my subnet, I'm choosing 1A public, right? And 1B public also. In the subnets, why I've chosen public also, I'll explain. And choose 1A public as of now. Go to actions, edit subnet settings. So here we have an option. What is this? Auto assign.
Enable.
If I enable this setting, can you guess what is going to happen?
It assigns public IP at instance creation.
Yeah. By default, we are getting at the time of selection, you no need to choose in the drop down enable, disable. By default, it is enabled. If you select this option. For the public subnets, this is one of the best practice. You enable here this public assign. Otherwise, at the time of instance creation, that user may forget to Enable, then what is the problem is we don't get a public IP, then we can't connect even we have an internet gateway also. Okay. So that is the problem we have. Okay. So then for the public subnets, how many subnets? We have 2 subnets, right? It's mandatory. We need to enable this option. For the other subnet also I'll enable. The 1B public. Go to actions, edit subnet settings, enable. Then I'll go to again EC2 instance. So again, I'll go to EC2 instance. Then I'm going to launch the instance. So I'll choose any of the server details. So there are some typos, but in the job, we should be very careful with the naming conventions. Then here I'll go to edit option. I'll choose 1A or 1B. First, I need to choose my Bank of America, North Virginia VPC. Then I'll choose public. By default, this is enabled. Even if I choose 1B public also, because this setting is coming from that subnet setting. And if I choose 1B private, by default, that option is disabled. Anyhow, for private IP, private subnet, we no need of for private subnet, we no need of public IP. Okay. Then, like here, what is the assignment for today is you need to create all these VPCs. Okay. Then what we need to do is like we need to connect to that instance. To that public instance, everyone should be able to connect. Then only your public subnet settings all are perfect. Not with the default VPC. With your
Custom VPC.
With your custom VPC. Okay. And finish those videos also, all the videos also before class. If you go through, at least you can ask more questions in that instead of again repeating the same class.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
So try to finish in the tomorrow session. Like we'll discuss NAT gateway, NAT instance. Again, I'll explain the route tables more detailed, NACLs, security groups, VPC peering. All these we'll discuss in the tomorrow session.
Okay. So
Okay.
can share that video so we can go through that.
Yeah, please go through those videos.
Okay.
Send these new videos also, sir.
Sure. I'll share those.
From last Friday, we didn't get new videos, sir. Old
Yeah,
videos.
first finish those videos, right? I know the things. I know I'm not sending.
Yeah.
Focus on that part.
Okay, sir.
Sure.
Okay. So I know the priority things, and how many watching also I can see. No one are watching these videos itself. I
No, sir,
can
I'm watching.
I know the hits, all those, how many people are watching, all that insights I'll get that. Who exactly watching, I don't know, but how many views I can see.
Sure.
No one is watching.
No, sir, I'm doing, sir.
All the day.
Yeah, maybe one or two hits.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So try
Okay.
to finish those. Focus on that videos which I'm sharing.
Okay, sir.
These also I'll upload. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
So,
Okay.
so if the similar kind of like Azure is like
Yeah,
videos
for
are
Azure
there.
also I'll share those things.
Okay.
Parallelly try to finish Azure videos also.
Yes. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
So we can like
I'll share
video
those Azure
technical
videos
part.
also.
Okay.
Okay. So depends upon how you are watching, I can share. Otherwise, too many backlogs kind of thing.
Yeah. No. We
Okay.
try to finish that.
Sure.
Srikanth also share the MS Word document so that we can
I'll
learn
share.
different
Yeah,
things.
that's useful. I'll share that one. Go through that document 2 to 3 times. Okay.
Sure.
Otherwise, 1 second.